Could a demon ever be considered a guardian? Seems impossible, doesn't it? Yet, in the swirling sands of ancient Mesopotamia, there existed a being who defied such simple categorization. This is PAZUZU, the king of wind demons, whose forgotten temples whisper a tale of both protection and terrifying power. PAZUZU, a formidable figure in Mesopotamian demonology, straddled the line between benevolent protector and malevolent force of nature. Associated with the tempestuous winds and devastating storms that frequently ravaged the region, he was both feared for his destructive potential and revered for his ability to ward off other, even more sinister, evil spirits and demons. Perhaps most notably, the dreaded Lamashtu, a demoness who preyed upon pregnant women and infants. But if PAZUZU held no temples, how did the Mesopotamians venerate this demon god? In this video, we will uncover the hidden history of PAZUZU's forgotten temples, exploring whether they were physical structures lost to time or something far more subtle, a pervasive network of rituals, beliefs, and personal practices deeply embedded within Mesopotamian society. We'll delve into his complex iconography, his relationships with other Mesopotamian deities, and the modern attempts to understand, and perhaps more dangerously, invoke his power. Some occult sources maintain that PAZUZU does not take kindly to botched summoning rituals. Are these modern summoners playing with fire? Our exploration of PAZUZU's forgotten temples and symbolic representations in ancient Mesopotamian belief systems will challenge the common misconception of demons as purely malevolent entities and reveal the nuanced understanding of good and evil within this ancient culture. We aim to answer the question of how this controversial figure was both feared and revered, and why comprehending this duality provides critical insight into the Mesopotamian worldview. Prepare yourself. Some of these paradigm shifts will be deeply unsettling. Now, some of you may be skeptical. PAZUZU may seem like nothing more than a mythological figure, relegated to the dusty pages of ancient history with limited relevance to our modern world. However, PAZUZU's influence extends far beyond ancient Mesopotamia. His image has permeated later demonological traditions, influencing occult practices for centuries and even making appearances in popular culture, such as in the film The Exorcist. Be warned that this video will contain mature themes that may be disturbing to some viewers. So let's begin our journey into the past, venturing into the heart of ancient Mesopotamia to explore the origins of PAZUZU and unravel the mysteries of his forgotten temples. Tags to enclose the script section. The final output will be a ready-to-narrate script with no extra instructions or notes. Let's begin. Thinking Content Part 2. As we continue our exploration of PAZUZU, we must now address a central question. How can a demon, typically associated with chaos and destruction, also be considered a protector? The mystery of PAZUZU's forgotten temples lies in part in understanding this apparent contradiction, and in recognizing that these temples may not have been physical structures at all. This section will reveal how this duality manifested in Mesopotamian beliefs and hint at the potential symbolic interpretations that lie beyond a literal understanding of the word temple. What dark truth can be found in this duality? To truly grasp PAZUZU's role, we must first understand the Mesopotamian worldview regarding the spirit world. Unlike our modern, often secular perspective, the ancient Mesopotamians believed in a world teeming with both benevolent and malevolent entities, a multitude of spirits constantly influencing daily life, health, and fortune. Demons, in this context, weren't exclusively evil. They could be forces of nature, some helpful, some harmful. Amulets, incantations, and elaborate rituals were commonplace, employed to ward off evil spirits, attract good fortune, and even combat disease. Consider, for example, the protective spirits known as Apkallu, sages often depicted as fish-human hybrids, who were believed to bring wisdom and protect against chaos. Other wind deities, such as Enlil, the god of wind, storms, and agriculture, wielded immense power, capable of both nurturing crops and unleashing devastating floods. But amidst this pantheon of powerful figures, PAZUZU occupied a unique and ambiguous position. One of PAZUZU's primary roles was to protect against the demoness Lamashtu, perhaps the most feared of all Mesopotamian evil spirits. Lamashtu was a monstrous figure, often depicted with the head of a lion, the body of a human, the talons of a bird, and wings. She was associated with disease, miscarriage, infant mortality, and a host of other terrors that haunted pregnant women and newborns. The Mesopotamians believed Lamashtu stalked the night, seeking to snatch away vulnerable infants and inflict suffering upon expectant mothers. The fear she inspired was palpable, driving people to seek desperate measures for protection. What could possibly stop such a creature? In Mesopotamian society, priests and exorcists held positions of considerable authority, serving as intermediaries between the human world and the realm of spirits. These religious figures possessed specialized knowledge of incantations, rituals, and the names of powerful deities and demons, allowing them to identify, diagnose, and combat the influence of evil spirits. They were the first line of defense against the forces of darkness, offering solace and protection to those afflicted by supernatural maladies. They held an integral role in their communities and continue to be represented in media, though often inaccurately. But what exactly was PAZUZU? He is often defined as the King of the Wind Demons, a title that reflects his unique position as both a potentially harmful entity and a protector against other, even more sinister, evil spirits. PAZUZU's very image is a grotesque composite of animal features, designed to inspire both fear and awe. He is often depicted with the head of a lion, symbolizing power and ferocity. Eagle's talons, representing speed and dominion over the skies. A scorpion's tail, signifying danger and the ability to inflict harm, and feathered wings, suggesting freedom and transcendence. These disparate features combine to create a truly unsettling figure, a chimera of power that defies easy categorization. What could each of these features possibly mean? PAZUZU's association with the wind and storms further emphasizes his dual nature. In ancient Mesopotamia, wind was not simply a weather phenomenon. It was a powerful force that could bring both life and destruction. A gentle breeze could bring welcome relief from the scorching heat, carrying the scent of rain and the promise of fertile harvests. However, a fierce windstorm could unleash devastating floods, destroy crops, and level entire cities. The Mesopotamians understood the wind as an unpredictable and often violent force, a reflection of the chaotic energies that permeated the cosmos. It was believed the god was able to control this force, but to what end? It was believed that PAZUZU held the power to both unleash and control these destructive forces of nature. He could summon the winds to drive away locusts and other pests that threatened crops, or he could unleash devastating storms upon his enemies. This ability to command the elements made him a formidable figure, both feared and respected. But what made him decide who he would help and who he would hurt? Archaeological evidence for PAZUZU worship, while not as abundant as for some other Mesopotamian deities, paints a compelling picture of his role in ancient society. Amulets, figurines, and reliefs depicting his image have been discovered at various Mesopotamian sites, providing tangible evidence of his widespread veneration. These artifacts offer valuable insights into the beliefs and practices associated with this enigmatic figure. Let's examine some specific examples. PAZUZU amulets, typically small and made of materials like bronze or faience, have been unearthed in locations ranging from private homes to public buildings. These amulets often depict PAZUZU in his characteristic pose, with his right hand raised and his left hand lowered, a gesture that some scholars interpret as a symbol of his power to both create and destroy. Inscriptions on these amulets often invoke PAZUZU's name and call upon him to protect the wearer from evil spirits, particularly Lamashtu. Archaeological reports document these finds, meticulously detailing their physical characteristics, inscriptions, and precise find locations, providing valuable context for understanding their significance. What makes them so important to discover? The iconography of PAZUZU amulets is rich with symbolism, each element carefully chosen to convey his powers and attributes. As mentioned, the lion's head represents power and authority, signifying his role as king of the wind demons. The wings symbolize freedom and transcendence, allowing him to traverse the realms of both the living and the dead. The scorpion's tail represents danger and protection, capable of inflicting harm upon evil spirits while simultaneously warding them away from the amulet's wearer. Even the positioning of PAZUZU's hands and feet holds symbolic meaning, with his raised right hand representing his power to create and his lowered left hand representing his power to destroy. He stands with his feet together, ready to leap into action. What does this say about his personality? These amulets were not merely decorative objects. They were potent symbols of protection, believed to possess the power to ward off evil spirits and safeguard homes, pregnant women, and infants from harm. They were often placed in strategic locations, such as above doorways, near beds, or worn as pendants, creating a protective barrier against the forces of darkness. The belief was that these amulets acted as a deterrent, frightening away evil spirits with the fearsome image of PAZUZU himself. It was also believed the demon would make a deal to protect those who wore the amulet. But was it really that simple? While archaeological evidence reveals much about PAZUZU worship, one striking fact remains: the lack of clear evidence for dedicated PAZUZU temples in the traditional sense. Unlike other major Mesopotamian deities, such as Ishtar or Marduk, no grand temple complex has been definitively identified as dedicated solely to PAZUZU. Does this mean PAZUZU was less important? Or does it suggest something else entirely? Perhaps the temples of PAZUZU were not physical structures, but rather more individual and symbolic, referring to personal practices and representations woven into the fabric of daily life. Instead of congregating in grand temples, individuals may have sought PAZUZU's protection through personal rituals performed in their homes, relying on amulets and incantations to invoke his power. This interpretation shifts our focus from the monumental to the personal, suggesting that PAZUZU's influence was more deeply embedded in the everyday lives of the Mesopotamians than previously thought. Why would that be the case? The widespread use of PAZUZU amulets can be interpreted as a form of personal temple, where individuals sought to invoke his protection through symbolic objects. By wearing or displaying a PAZUZU amulet, a person was essentially creating a portable shrine, a personal connection to the demon king. This idea challenges our conventional understanding of temples as fixed, communal spaces, suggesting that sacred spaces can also be mobile and individualized. Perhaps, in the world of ancient Mesopotamia, what we now think of as demon could be so easily venerated on a personal level. But how? The placement of PAZUZU amulets in homes further reinforces the idea of creating a sacred space dedicated to protection. By adorning their dwellings with PAZUZU's image, individuals were essentially transforming their homes into temples, fortifying them against evil spirits, and invoking the demon king's watchful gaze. This suggests that the concept of temple in ancient Mesopotamia extended beyond formal religious structures, encompassing personal spaces and everyday objects imbued with symbolic power. What does this say about our understanding of temples, both new and old? In essence, PAZUZU represents a complex and contradictory figure, a demon who could be both a protector and a potentially destructive force. While we have not found grand temples dedicated to his name, the widespread use of PAZUZU amulets and the personal rituals associated with his worship suggest that his temples were more individual and symbolic, woven into the daily lives of the Mesopotamians. Now, we must ask ourselves, did the people need protection from PAZUZU himself, or was he purely a protector? However, it's important to acknowledge that not all interpretations of PAZUZU paint him in a positive light. Some scholars and occultists emphasize his malevolent side, viewing him as a purely destructive demon, a bringer of storms, disease, and chaos. This interpretation draws upon certain incantations and myths that depict PAZUZU as a fearsome figure, unleashing his wrath upon humanity. Does that mean the kind interpretation is wrong? Indeed, some incantations specifically invoke PAZUZU as a bringer of disease, calling upon him to inflict suffering upon one's enemies. These texts paint a darker picture of PAZUZU, highlighting his destructive potential and reinforcing the notion that he was not simply a benevolent protector. This darker side cannot be ignored. Furthermore, some modern occult practices warn of the potential risks associated with invoking PAZUZU, claiming that he is a powerful and unpredictable entity who does not take kindly to those who disrespect him. These sources suggest that attempting to summon PAZUZU without proper knowledge and preparation can have dangerous consequences, potentially unleashing unforeseen forces upon the practitioner. It is said that these demons hold grudges, so one must not offend them in any way. Is it worth the risk? Ultimately, PAZUZU's temples represent the intersection of protection, destruction, and wind phenomena in ancient Mesopotamian belief systems. His dual nature, as both a protector and a potentially malevolent force, reflects a complex understanding of good and evil, order and chaos that permeated Mesopotamian culture. It would be wrong to claim him as purely evil or purely good. Therefore, to truly understand PAZUZU, we must consider the broader context of Mesopotamian religion and culture, recognizing that even seemingly malevolent figures could serve a purpose in maintaining balance and order in the cosmos. Perhaps even his destructive side was necessary to prevent the world from becoming stagnant, a reminder that change and upheaval are inevitable parts of life. What lies behind this need for balance? As we move forward, we will explore the enduring influence of PAZUZU and Mesopotamian demonology on later belief systems and occult practices, uncovering how this ancient demon king continues to fascinate and terrify us to this day. Are we sure this is a good idea? But was it really that simple? The truth is far more complex. While PAZUZU was certainly invoked as a protector against other malevolent entities, particularly Lamashtu, it's not unreasonable to suggest that some also sought protection from PAZUZU himself. This seeming contradiction is central to understanding his enduring appeal and the esoteric evolution of his role beyond simple protection. Just how could this dark figure have evolved? PAZUZU's influence transcended the boundaries of simple protection in daily Mesopotamian life, evolving into a more complex figure within esoteric and occult traditions. The forgotten temples of PAZUZU, therefore, can also refer to the symbolic spaces created in occult practices where he is invoked, represented, and even, some believe, contained. This transition highlights a shift from a more generalized form of worship and appeasement to a targeted invocation for specific purposes. But what could this mean for occultists? Within these esoteric traditions, PAZUZU is not merely a wind demon or a guardian against evil. He becomes a conduit to primordial chaos, a gatekeeper to forbidden knowledge, and an embodiment of transformative power. This evolution is deeply intertwined with the Mesopotamians' understanding of the subconscious. By recognizing the chaotic power of the wind as a metaphor for the unpredictable and often destructive forces within the human psyche, PAZUZU becomes a symbol for understanding and even harnessing these forces. Is he the key to unlocking the human psyche? To fully appreciate this evolution, it's essential to understand the transmission of Mesopotamian demonology to later cultures and occult traditions. Mesopotamian beliefs exerted a profound influence on Jewish, Christian, and Islamic demonology, shaping the development of these traditions in complex and often unexpected ways. The figure of PAZUZU, though not always directly named, can be discerned in the attributes and roles ascribed to other demonic entities in these later belief systems. The winds of Mesopotamia carried far beyond the ancient lands. Grimoires and other magical texts played a crucial role in preserving and transforming ancient demonological traditions. These texts, often shrouded in secrecy and attributed to legendary figures like King Solomon, served as repositories of magical knowledge, incantations, and rituals, providing a framework for understanding and interacting with the spirit world. Many of these grimoires show clear Mesopotamian influence, both in their demonological hierarchies and in their descriptions of specific rituals and practices. But what texts specifically relate? Texts like the Ars Gotia, a section of the Lesser Key of Solomon, contain descriptions of demons with attributes and powers that echo those of Mesopotamian deities and spirits. The Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonum, another influential grimoire, also reflects Mesopotamian demonological concepts, albeit filtered through a Christian lens. These texts demonstrate the enduring legacy of Mesopotamian beliefs, even as they were adapted and reinterpreted within different cultural and religious contexts. Did this adaptation change the demons or the cultures that venerated them? Syncretism, the blending of different religious or cultural beliefs, played a significant role in shaping the evolution of PAZUZU and other Mesopotamian demons in later traditions. As Mesopotamian beliefs spread throughout the ancient world, they interacted with existing religious systems, resulting in the fusion of deities, spirits, and magical practices. PAZUZU's attributes were often blended with those of other entities in different cultures, creating hybrid figures that reflected the unique syncretic traditions of their respective regions. Just how diverse were these syncretic deities? For instance, in some Gnostic traditions, PAZUZU's association with wind and chaos may have resonated with certain Gnostic concepts of the demiurge, the imperfect creator god responsible for the material world. Both PAZUZU and the demiurge embody forces that are both creative and destructive, challenging the notion of a purely benevolent divine power. This syncretism highlights the enduring appeal of Mesopotamian demonology, even in contexts far removed from its original cultural setting. What would be some other examples? Several factors contributed to PAZUZU's enduring appeal in occult circles. His ambiguous nature, as both a protector and a potentially destructive force, made him a complex and intriguing figure, capable of embodying a wide range of symbolic meanings. His association with wind and primordial chaos further enhanced his appeal, aligning him with the transformative and often unpredictable energies that occultists seek to harness. But is it truly worth harnessing such power? Within occult traditions, PAZUZU often assumes the role of a gatekeeper, guardian, or source of forbidden knowledge. He is seen as a guardian of thresholds, both physical and spiritual, protecting sacred spaces and preventing unauthorized access to hidden realms. In this context, PAZUZU's image is often invoked to ward off malevolent spirits and ensure the integrity of magical rituals. Are these rituals successful, though? As a guardian of thresholds, PAZUZU is believed to control access to hidden knowledge and spiritual power. Occultists often seek his guidance in navigating the labyrinthine realms of the subconscious, seeking to unlock the secrets of the universe and attain higher states of consciousness. This role is consistent with his association with the wind and primordial chaos, forces that can both obscure and reveal hidden truths. But what makes him such an ideal gatekeeper? Several attributes make him an ideal gatekeeper: his fearsome appearance, which deters unwanted entities; his command over the winds, which can both conceal and reveal; and his ambiguous nature, which allows him to discern the true intentions of those who seek to pass through the threshold. In this sense, PAZUZU serves as a kind of psychopomp, guiding souls through the underworld and ensuring that only those who are worthy gain access to the secrets beyond. But can this really be achieved? Occult figures see PAZUZU as more than just a protector. They view him as an active agent of change, a force that can be harnessed to achieve specific goals. This perspective is reflected in the rituals and practices associated with invoking PAZUZU's power in occult contexts. These rituals often involve complex incantations, symbolic gestures, and the use of specific tools and ingredients, all designed to establish a connection with the Demon King and channel his energy for a desired purpose. And how are these connections made? Rituals invoking PAZUZU often include offerings of incense, libations, and symbolic representations of his power, such as images of wind, storms, or scorpions. The practitioner may also enter into a trance state, using meditation or other techniques to heighten their awareness and facilitate communication with the demon. The goal is to establish a rapport with PAZUZU, demonstrating respect and acknowledging his power while simultaneously asserting one's own will and intention. What is the goal of these rituals? Specific examples of PAZUZU's appearance in grimoires, rituals, and occult practices offer valuable insights into his role and significance within these traditions. The Grimorium Verum, for instance, mentions PAZUZU as one of the demons who can be invoked to obtain specific favors or achieve certain goals. The text provides detailed instructions on how to summon PAZUZU, including the incantations to be recited, the symbols to be used, and the offerings to be made. What would make occultists choose PAZUZU over other entities? Occultists might choose to work with PAZUZU because of his unique combination of protective and destructive powers. He is seen as a powerful ally in combating malevolent forces, while also possessing the ability to unleash chaos and destruction upon one's enemies. This duality makes him a versatile figure, capable of addressing a wide range of needs and desires. But what are the real benefits? There are potential benefits and risks associated with invoking PAZUZU in occult practices. On the one hand, he can provide protection, knowledge, and the power to manipulate chaotic energies. On the other hand, he is a potentially dangerous entity who may demand a high price for his services. The signs, sigils, and incantations used with PAZUZU are designed to both attract his attention and control his power. One common sigil is a stylized depiction of PAZUZU's head, often inscribed on amulets or talismans. The incantations typically invoke PAZUZU's name and attributes, calling upon him to manifest his power and fulfill the practitioner's desires. What do these rituals consist of? The use of PAZUZU in occult practices reflects a broader fascination with transgression, transformation, and the exploration of the dark side of human nature. Demons, in this context, are not simply evil entities to be feared and avoided. They are powerful forces that can be harnessed to achieve personal growth, spiritual enlightenment, or even worldly success. But what psychological motivations lie behind these practices? The psychological or spiritual motivations behind invoking PAZUZU may include a desire for power, protection, access to forbidden knowledge, or a sense of connection to something beyond the ordinary. Some may be drawn to PAZUZU's image as a symbol of rebellion against societal norms and religious dogmas, embracing the demon as a representation of individual freedom and self-expression. But could this desire go too far? The role of demons and other dark entities in occult traditions is complex and multifaceted. Some view them as purely malevolent forces, while others see them as neutral or even benevolent beings who can be called upon for assistance. The reasons why individuals might be drawn to these figures vary widely, ranging from a genuine belief in their power to a fascination with the forbidden and a desire to explore the darker aspects of the human psyche. Are we right to be fascinated with the forbidden? In essence, PAZUZU's meaning has evolved over time, reflecting changing cultural values and spiritual beliefs. From a wind demon invoked for protection in ancient Mesopotamia, he has become a symbol of chaos, freedom, and individual will in modern occultism. This evolution highlights the enduring power of belief and the human capacity to reinterpret and reimagine ancient figures in new and meaningful ways. Where does this leave him today? However, it is important to acknowledge the potential risks associated with invoking PAZUZU, referencing warnings from occult sources. Working with powerful entities without proper knowledge, training, and respect can have dangerous consequences, potentially unleashing unforeseen forces upon the practitioner. Occultists warn of the dangers of pride, hubris, and a lack of self-awareness when dealing with such energies. Are these things to be trifled with? The ethical considerations involved in invoking PAZUZU emphasize the importance of responsible and mindful practice. Misusing or abusing PAZUZU's power could have devastating consequences, not only for the practitioner, but also for those around them. Setting boundaries and adhering to a strict code of conduct is essential when working with any spiritual entity, particularly one as powerful and potentially volatile as PAZUZU. What would be some examples of unethical uses of demonology? Ultimately, PAZUZU remains a complex figure with a significant legacy, both ancient and modern. His evolution from a wind demon to a symbol of individual will reflects the enduring power of human belief and imagination. Understanding PAZUZU within the context of Mesopotamian religion, occult traditions, and broader themes of human belief and imagination is crucial for appreciating his enduring appeal. But what will his next evolution be? PAZUZU's enduring appeal reflects the human fascination with the unknown, the power of belief, and the enduring tension between order and chaos. He embodies the ambiguity and complexity of the spirit world, challenging us to confront our fears, embrace our desires, and explore the hidden depths of our own psyches. So as we continue to dissect the occult, the question we must ask ourselves is this: what will we do with the power to wield that individual will? What will you do? From ancient protector to modern symbol of chaos, PAZUZU's journey is far from over. This section explores how PAZUZU is viewed by modern occultists and practitioners, emphasizing his connection to chaos, freedom, and individual will. No longer just a protector against other demons, PAZUZU has become something more, a symbol of personal empowerment and the embracing of the unknown. And while ancient Mesopotamians venerated PAZUZU in community rituals, modern occultists engage PAZUZU through personal practice. But what spurred this shift in practice? The emergence of modern occultism in the late 19th and 20th centuries provided fertile ground for the re-emergence of ancient deities like PAZUZU. Figures like Aleister Crowley, with his emphasis on individual will and the breaking of societal constraints, played a crucial role in shaping modern occult thought. Crowley's system of the lemma, with its core principle of do what thou wilt, resonated with the chaotic and transformative aspects of PAZUZU. Similarly, Kenneth Grant, a prominent figure in the Typhonian order, explored the connections between ancient religions, including Mesopotamian mythology and modern occult practices. Austin Osman Spare, with his focus on sigils and subconscious exploration, provided techniques that could be applied to working with entities like PAZUZU. These figures, drawing from ancient religions such as Egyptian, Sumerian, and Babylonian mythology, created a new occult context. But how did these figures rediscover PAZUZU? Ancient deities like PAZUZU were rediscovered and reinterpreted within this new occult context through a combination of archaeological discoveries, translations of ancient texts, and cross-cultural exchange. The unearthing of Mesopotamian artifacts, such as PAZUZU amulets and statues, sparked renewed interest in the region's mythology. The translation of ancient texts, including incantations and religious hymns, provided insights into the roles and attributes of Mesopotamian deities. Texts like the Book of Abramelin, though not directly referencing PAZUZU, exemplified the trend of incorporating complex demonologies into personal practice. The rediscovery of these ancient mythologies allowed modern occultists to adapt these figures and symbols to their own purposes and beliefs, and reimagine PAZUZU not as a mere guardian, but as something far more powerful. But what is the modern occult interpretation of PAZUZU? The modern occult interpretation of PAZUZU casts him as a symbol of chaos, freedom, and the power of the individual will. In this view, PAZUZU represents the forces of change, transformation, and liberation from societal constraints. Chaos is not necessarily seen as destructive, but as a source of creativity and innovation, and PAZUZU embodies this creative chaos, breaking down old structures to make way for the new. Instead of fearing chaos, modern occultists seek to harness it. But how do they achieve this? Modern occultism places great emphasis on self-deification, the idea that practitioners can elevate themselves to a divine or godlike status through ritual and self-exploration. Individuals can harness the power of PAZUZU to manifest their desires and achieve their goals by tapping into the demon's chaotic energy. This process typically involves a combination of ritual practices, meditation, and self-analysis, and through these techniques, practitioners seek to align themselves with the forces of the cosmos. This is where chaos magic comes into play and the unique role that PAZUZU fills. But how is PAZUZU incorporated into chaos magic? PAZUZU finds a unique role in chaos magic and other contemporary traditions, serving as a conduit for transformative energies. Chaos magicians, known for their eclectic approach to spirituality, often incorporate PAZUZU into their practices, using sigils, mantras, and visualizations to connect with his energy. For instance, a chaos magician might create a sigil based on PAZUZU's traditional iconography, focusing on the image of the wind or the scorpion's tail. They might then meditate on this sigil, chanting a mantra invoking PAZUZU's name and attributes, seeking to channel his power for a specific purpose. But what does PAZUZU represent to a chaos magician? Modern occultists reinterpret PAZUZU's image and attributes to emphasize personal empowerment and the embracing of chaos. Rather than viewing him as a purely malevolent entity, they see him as a force of nature, a primal energy that can be harnessed for personal transformation. This reinterpretation is reflected in the use of PAZUZU's image in art, music, and other forms of creative expression within the occult community. These artistic renderings often depict PAZUZU with a sense of power and defiance, celebrating his chaotic nature rather than demonizing it. What is it about the dark side that attracts occultists? The attraction to PAZUZU and other dark entities within modern occultism can be attributed to a desire for power, transgression, and self-transformation. By working with these figures, practitioners seek to confront their fears, explore their shadow selves, and ultimately achieve a greater understanding of themselves and the universe. Exploring the dark side of human nature is not seen as inherently evil, but as a necessary step on the path to self-awareness and personal growth. By facing their demons, both literally and figuratively, practitioners seek to integrate these aspects of themselves into a more complete and empowered whole. Is it as simple as embracing the darkness within? The use of PAZUZU in occult practices is connected to broader themes of rebellion, nonconformity, and the rejection of mainstream values. PAZUZU represents a challenge to traditional authority and a celebration of individual freedom. And for those who feel marginalized or oppressed by societal norms, PAZUZU can become a symbol of empowerment and resistance. By embracing the chaotic and transgressive aspects of PAZUZU, practitioners assert their independence and challenge the status quo. But how can we reconstruct forgotten temples? In essence, the figure of PAZUZU now represents something very different than its origins in ancient Mesopotamia. And while the physical temples of PAZUZU may be lost to time, the forgotten temples of PAZUZU are being reconstructed in the digital age through online communities, social media, and virtual rituals, setting the stage for a new era of occult practice. The internet has facilitated the spread of occult knowledge and the formation of new spiritual communities, allowing practitioners from around the world to connect and share their experiences. But does this ease of access pose a risk? However, the potential dangers and ethical considerations involved in working with PAZUZU and other powerful entities cannot be ignored. The risks of hubris, self-delusion, and the misuse of occult powers are very real, and unchecked power can lead to disastrous consequences. It is important to approach these practices with caution, humility, and a deep respect for the forces being invoked. But what safeguards should practitioners employ? Responsible and mindful practice is paramount, highlighting the need for self-awareness, ethical boundaries, and respect for the entities being invoked. The consequences of disrespecting or misusing PAZUZU's power can range from psychological disturbances to real-world repercussions, and practitioners must be prepared to take responsibility for their actions. For example, some occultists believe that attempting to control PAZUZU without the proper knowledge or preparation can lead to the practitioner becoming overwhelmed by chaotic energies, resulting in mental instability or even physical harm. Therefore, setting boundaries, engaging in thorough self-reflection, and seeking guidance from experienced practitioners are essential steps in mitigating these risks. What happens if these steps aren't taken? Ultimately, PAZUZU is a complex and multifaceted figure whose interpretations have evolved over time, serving as a mirror reflecting human aspirations, fears, and the enduring quest for meaning and power. Connecting PAZUZU back to the broader themes of human belief, imagination, and the ongoing dialogue between order and chaos is crucial, as he represents the human need for control, even within the realms of the chaotic and unknown. But could PAZUZU represent the chaos we all wish to unleash? While the physical temples dedicated to PAZUZU may be lost to the sands of time, could it be that his influence has simply shifted, finding new expression in the unlikeliest of places? This section delves into the fascinating and often unsettling world of PAZUZU's digital temples, exploring how the internet has become a fertile ground for connecting with, and perhaps even invoking, this ancient Mesopotamian wind demon. Has the symbol of chaos simply found a new home in the chaos of the digital realm, where ancient practices meet modern technology? The late 20th and early 21st centuries witnessed an unprecedented phenomenon: the emergence of thriving online occult communities. This digital renaissance was fueled by the internet's ability to transcend geographical boundaries, connecting individuals who might otherwise have remained isolated in their esoteric pursuits. Social media platforms, online forums, and even virtual reality environments became virtual covens, providing spaces for sharing knowledge, forming connections, and developing new occult practices. Specific dates mark turning points in this evolution, such as the late 1990s, when early internet forums dedicated to occultism began to flourish, or the mid-2000s with the rise of social media groups focused on specific deities and practices. But how has this connectivity shaped modern occultism? The internet has effectively democratized access to occult knowledge, breaking down traditional barriers to entry that once required years of study, initiation, or access to rare texts. Digital temples have emerged as virtual spaces where individuals can connect with deities like PAZUZU, perform rituals, and share their experiences, regardless of their location, background, or level of experience. This accessibility is coupled with a remarkable degree of flexibility, allowing practitioners to tailor their rituals and practices to fit their own schedules and beliefs. Moreover, the anonymity afforded by the internet provides a safe space for exploring potentially controversial or taboo subjects, especially considering some rituals require privacy to be performed. But could something be lost with digital practice? Online, PAZUZU is invoked and discussed within various communities, social media groups, and virtual reality environments. For instance, one might find dedicated forums where practitioners share their personal experiences with PAZUZU, detailing the methods they use to connect with him and the results they have achieved. Specific online rituals might involve creating digital sigils of PAZUZU, chanting mantras in virtual reality simulations, or participating in group meditations via video conferencing. Some occultists even use technology to enhance their connection with PAZUZU, employing digital audio to create binaural beats or subliminal messages designed to alter their state of consciousness. Searching public and private sites reveals that, like many demons, the rituals are highly variable. But how can occultists be sure that these practices are safe? The rise of digital temples can be interpreted as reflecting broader cultural trends, such as an increasing reliance on technology and a growing search for meaning and purpose in a rapidly changing world. Practicing occultism online offers potential benefits, such as increased accessibility and the ability to connect with like-minded individuals. However, it also presents potential drawbacks, including issues of authenticity, safety, and the potential for misinformation. The ease of access may lead some to believe that there are no repercussions from reckless interaction with the occult world. Does this mean that true belief in occultism is something being lost to modern times? Summarizing PAZUZU's journey from ancient protector to modern symbol of chaos, and the fact that he's now accessible digitally brings us to a crucial question. Does reconstructing PAZUZU rituals, whether online or offline, carry inherent risks? The nature of the entities involved suggests that it may, and that respecting ancient traditions and understanding the potential consequences of misinterpreting or disrespecting these powerful forces is vital. The next section will explore these potential pitfalls and will prepare you for summoning rituals in the future that you are able to follow safely. But what happens if one gets sloppy? Skepticism about online occult practices is prevalent, particularly among traditionalists who view them as inauthentic or diluted versions of their ancient counterparts. Concerns about misinformation, exploitation, and the spread of harmful ideologies are also valid, as the anonymity and lack of regulation online can create an environment where false or dangerous information can easily proliferate. For example, in 2018, a popular occult forum was shut down after it was revealed that some members were promoting harmful rituals based on misinterpreted ancient texts, leading to psychological distress and even physical harm among vulnerable individuals. Therefore, verifying the authenticity and safety of online sources presents a significant challenge. Where can one find good sources? Reaffirming PAZUZU's multifaceted nature and the evolution of his interpretations into the digital realm, we can see that digital temples represent a new chapter in human belief and imagination. Ultimately, this fascination with PAZUZU reflects the human need to confront both light and darkness within ourselves. As we prepare to delve into related entities and concepts in the next part of this series, it's important to remember that the line between the real and the virtual is becoming increasingly blurred. Could PAZUZU represent something more than the chaos we all wish to unleash? As we draw our exploration to a close, we've ventured deep into the world of PAZUZU, from his origins in ancient Mesopotamian beliefs to his modern interpretations in occult practices and digital temples. We've witnessed his transformation from a feared wind demon to a complex figure embodying both protection and chaos, and we have seen how ancient beliefs translate into digital practices in the information age. In summary, this journey has revealed that PAZUZU's forgotten temples aren't necessarily physical structures lost to time, but rather evolving expressions of belief, ritual, and symbolic representation. From personal amulets to virtual reality invocations, PAZUZU's temples exist wherever individuals seek to harness his power, whether for protection, empowerment, or a deeper understanding of the self. His enduring appeal lies in his duality, reflecting humanity's own fascination with the delicate balance between creation and destruction, order and chaos. What does this transformation truly mean for modern believers? PAZUZU's story speaks to the broader human relationship with the unknown, the power of belief, and the search for meaning in an increasingly complex world. His evolution reflects the changing values and spiritual beliefs of different cultures, highlighting how ancient deities can be reinterpreted and adapted to fit contemporary needs and desires. It raises profound questions about the nature of belief itself and the role of technology in shaping our understanding of the spiritual world. Does this continued fascination with PAZUZU show a need to understand where our beliefs come from as a culture and as individuals? How does this compare to other deities that have survived through the ages? When engaging with a figure as complex and potentially dangerous as PAZUZU, it's crucial to maintain a balanced perspective, acknowledging both the potential benefits and the inherent risks. Responsible practice, respect for ancient traditions, and critical thinking are paramount when delving into the realms of occult or spiritual beliefs. Understanding comes through balance, recognizing that PAZUZU, like the winds he commands, can be both a destructive force and a source of immense power, a destroyer of disease as well as a bringer of storms. Perhaps then, we must accept that these forgotten temples may yet re-emerge in the most unexpected places, carried on the winds of change. If you've enjoyed this exploration of PAZUZU and his forgotten temples, and you're eager to uncover more hidden histories and delve deeper into the world of mythology, demonology, and the occult, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Join our community of like-minded individuals as we continue to explore the mysteries that swirl around us, learning more about the winds of change that shape our world and our understanding of it. Until next time, may the winds of knowledge guide you.